From 1951 through 1960, Ferrari built 60 cars with custom bodies and called them Americas or SuperAmericas. The super prefix identified cars with more powerful and modified engines. This long tradition carries on to the modern day, and Ferrari revived the name in 2005 with its introduction of the 575 SuperAmerica, which was at the time the world's fastest convertible. The SuperAmerica's predecessor, the 575 Coupe, is one of the world's great grand touring cars and combines both power, speed, and comfort with the traditional Ferrari long nose, short rear end, and V12 power. The SuperAmerica takes it up a notch with its limited production and top-down driving experience. Ferrari tends to introduce a model and then make upgrades and changes as the model progresses, to where the final variation is the most powerful and limited production of all the variations. With the 575 SuperAmerica, that's exactly what they did. They used that super prefix, and those usually mean it has more power. So of course they had to bump the horsepower in this car. The original 575 was about 508 horsepower, and the SuperAmerica now has 532 horsepower. It also has the body modification, so it has that really cool convertible top, and I will show you guys exactly how it works in just a minute, but basically it flips up and folds back, it's a really cool function. And they also did make it very limited production. So in total, they only made 559 of these cars, and only 170 came to the US. One of the most unique features of this car is its roof, and it's called a Revocromico panel or glass panel roof. So what you have to do to open it is there's a handle right above the rear view mirror right here that you pull, and then you push this button and the whole thing flips back. So it just pivots back. It's the coolest thing. When you take a car and you basically chop the roof off or modify the roof, you have to make up for that in the structural rigidity of the car. So they have reinforced the A-pillars, the side sills, and the center console of the chassis in this car to make up for the roof flipping back, which did add a little under 200 pounds to the car, but you really don't feel it while driving. It doesn't feel heavier than the normal 575. They also have both the sport and comfort mode in this car. So depending on what kind of drive experience you're feeling like, you can change that mode. And what that'll do, the computers in the car will actually read the surface of the road and adjust the suspension to change the handling and the feel of the car. The Ferrari 550 Maranello and 575 do have a very similar look to them. So I've been asked before, how do you really tell the difference easily between the two cars without having to look at emblems? And the easiest way to tell the difference between the two cars is the headlights. So as you can see here on the 575, it has the three little round headlights. But on the 550, the interior two are round, and then the exterior one is kind of a triangle. So that's one way you could just take a glance at the front of a 550 or 575 and be able to tell which one is which. The naming system on these cars really makes me giggle sometimes. Ferrari likes to use a 3-digit code to name their cars, and on some cars each digit has a place and makes sense, and then sometimes they just don't. So for the 575, it is a 5.7 liter, and it seems like they just threw the extra 5 on the end just to fill in the number slot. On cars like, for example, a 308, it's 3.0 liter, 8-cylinder, so it all makes sense. But sometimes it seems like they just throw the 5 on the end, like with this car, just to fill in the blank. If anybody does know the meaning of the extra 5, please let me know in the comments. I would be very curious to learn. But as far as I know, there really is no meaning. It was just thrown in there. Another really interesting thing about this era of front engine V12 Ferraris, so for the longest time, Ferrari had their standard and iconic Colombo V12 engine, and it was a 60-degree V12. In 1992, with the 456, they actually re-engineered the engine and came up with a 65-degree V12, which is what they use up to this day. So all their front engine cars, the 456, 599, 612, the 575, they're now 65-degree V12. So they're no longer your traditional 60-degree Colombo Ferrari engine. The options that Ferrari has nowadays are seemingly endless. You can basically make your car exactly how you want it. Back when the 575 came out, it was kind of Ferrari's introduction into adding an option list. That really started with the 550, where you can add options like colored calipers, fender shields, the contrasting stitching, all that kind of stuff. With Ferraris, you can't just have the power, you also have to have that luxurious feeling. So the Connolly leather in this car just dripping everywhere, and the nice accent of the red stitching, the red tack, the carbon fiber, all mixing together, plus the seamless F1 shift of this car. Earlier models like the 355, the shifting was a little bit lurchy when it was newer technology, but now you shift through the paddles and it's pretty instantaneous with none of that lurchy feeling. So you have a very luxurious but powerful and fun drive. The options on Ferraris always crack me up because the red stitching in this car, if you add that as an option, if you're buying a new car, how much would you guess it costs Ferrari to change the thread from black to red? I mean, it's a couple cents probably, but when you check that box, you're going to be charged like $1,300 for the contrasting stitching, which it does look amazing. And to give them some props, I mean, they do have high margins in that stuff and they're doing well for themselves, so can't blame them if they can make it work. But I do love the options. It really makes a difference in the look of the car. It just kind of cracks me up how the costs of options have just skyrocketed. If you're trying to check boxes of what makes a great collector car, this 575 SuperAmerica really does kind of have it all. So not only is it one of only 170 cars that was delivered to the US, it also has that stunning color combination of the black on black with the red accents, and it only has about 4,300 miles. So it's the right mileage and the perfect car to where it makes a great collector item in your garage that you could be proud of, but also an amazing car that you could take out for a weekend trip and enjoy the power and luxury and just amazing performance of the car. I hope you guys have liked this video and learned a little bit about the 575 SuperAmerica. If you liked it, please subscribe and stay tuned because we got a lot more coming very soon.